Hey y'all, it's Thursday, and you know what that means. That means it's time to ignite the dynamite the day after. And welcome to Day After Dynamite. I'm Will Washington, and I'm not alone here. You may recognize this face because she was here 11 episodes ago. I can't say 11 weeks ago because I've taken some weeks off. I've taken some weeks off in that time, but it was 11 episodes ago. It's the returning Miss Cher Delaware.
Hello. I'm very excited to be here. You asked me so long ago.
I know, right? There's been so much prep, and you've been ready for this. I know you were thinking about it the entire time you were at Dynamite. What am I going to say on Day After Dynamite? And I really appreciate you really taking the time to dive into this and give it your all.
Absolutely.
She literally learned she was hosting this like an hour and a half ago. But you were at Dynamite last night.
I was. And it
Yeah.
was a lot of fun.
Yeah, they definitely mic'd you guys way better than Kansas City, where I was last week, where, like I said on the show, I felt like loud, raucous crowd. I felt like they were really good being there. And then I turned to Twitter and everybody's like, why is this crowd so dead? And I'm like, no, there is a disconnect here. And I listened to it. And sure enough, I think Twitter was right. I think that they had to have had I think it was just like a switch. Like something was just turned off because everything sounded like it was a mile away. And they definitely fixed that for St. Louis, where I don't think the attendance was as good as the Rampage from back in November.
I did not go to that Rampage.
Did you not? Oh, okay.
There was a SmackDown about an hour from us that night, and we had front row seats. That's when Reed became best friends with Pat McAfee.
I remember you did go to a show. I just couldn't remember which one. But yeah, that night, okay, you went to
SmackDown. So I missed that one. But that one, they had Punk, and because it was the week before Full Gear.
Right.
Because we lost Full Gear. So.
Yeah, that was the one. It had, wasn't it Danielson versus Max Caster? I remember because he dropped the rap on John Laurinaitis, which would have been fitting here too. And
he had a good line last night.
Yeah, I saw he's had a couple of good ones. I forgot last week he had a line that really got me in the arena, and then I forgot about it until literally 30 seconds ago. But the line where he said, the only guns that shouldn't be banned are the ass boys. And that's such a great fucking line.
That is a very good line.
And
Will Washington!
Oh, we've been ambushed by Jeremy Lambert again.
Hello. Hi, Cher.
Hi.
How are you? How was Dynamite?
It was great. I'm doing well. I'm very tired. I didn't get home till 2 a.m.
Oh, why'd you stay out partying all night? Did you party with my man Luther?
No, I didn't see Luther.
I don't think he's there. He's banged up from what I hear.
There's because I did notice, and now that Fightful's reported it, I will note that there are a number of people from last week's Dynamite that weren't actually there, and I knew that because just being there after the fact. But a couple of those backstage segments last week at Dynamite were definitely taped well beforehand, as Sean reported. So a lot more people were there this week, so that's a good thing. Jeremy,
Will,
1-0.
We're gonna lose 4 straight. I have no faith. You're not talking me into having faith. Nope. The pessimism is continuing. I'm not getting my hopes up at all. I did last night was nice, but that's the only victory we're gonna have. That's it.
I like this. I like this.
It's worked. So far.
I know your pessimism has actually worked thus far.
That's right. Not changing the game plan. Cher, I have a voice from beyond who wants to say hi.
From beyond.
From beyond.
Hi,
From
guys.
beyond.
Oh, wow. That is a voice from beyond.
Yeah,
Wow.
so the voice from beyond.
It's totally disembodied. That's crazy.
Yes, they said hi.
And please set a wedding date so I can put in PTO.
We've been asked to set a wedding date. Can you set one for us?
I mean, yeah.
Okay. Because apparently we have to work around everybody else's schedule, not our own. So if you want to set one for us, that'd be cool.
No, you just have to.
The thing about weddings are actually about everyone else and not about you.
Yeah.
Nah, you just have to do like Denise and just throw it on a wrestling travel weekend. And
I know, right? For real. I thought about like let's just do it at like All Out. Everybody's just gonna kind of be there in Chicago anyway, so we'll just do it there.
At the mini golf course.
At the mini golf course. Perfect.
Look, that's all figured out. I don't know if I'll be able to make All Out, so but
well, you got to make All Outs.
Well, the problem is
you have to.
I know now that there's going to be a wedding there. I guess so. I was like, my original thinking is that I'm literally going to be at Forbidden Door in a week, so 2 trips to Chicago doesn't really make a whole lot of sense for this year. But
Just be like SP3 and go for a weekend and end up staying for 3 months. That's what he did with the UK. I swear he was just going for like a week, and now he's gonna move there. I'm pretty sure.
He's got freaking citizenship there at this point.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, I think I guess I can announce this a little Day After Dynamite Fightful Grapsity exclusive story. It's basically SP3 is filling in for me on Grapsity next week as I'm traveling to Chicago. I guess there was always like a mental running bet of who was going to be the first of the 3 of us to miss an episode of Grapsity, and it's me. And
as much as you travel, of course it's you.
I know, right? Well, Jeremy, we're about to get into talking Dynamite.
All right, yeah, I don't care about Dynamite. It was a show. It was great. The star of Dynamite was Andre Burakovsky. He was the best player on any Turner network. I think the game was actually on ABC last night.
It was.
But Andre Burakovsky was the star of Wednesday night in my world. Thank you guys. Have fun. Enjoy talking about this.
Wait, I was going to say, I actually watched all of Dynamite, and then the beauty of the way I watched it was I didn't tune in until the 3rd period, and so I got to start with a tie game and basically start from ground zero.
That's the way to go, because the first period was great, the second period was awful, and the third period was fine, and overtime happened. Which was
if you're a Tampa Bay fan,
we don't care about them, Will.
Then second quarter was actually pretty damn good.
Quarter? This man is
quarter.
quarters.
Sorry. Period. I forgot that for whatever reason, hockey is like, nah, we're going to divide into thirds because...
Yeah.
Canadians, what can you do? That's a Joel Pearl thing. Like, these Canadians, they don't know anything about anything.
Yeah.
Bye, guys. Have a good show.
Bye.
Bye.
And there is your split-faced cameo of Jeremy Lambert for the week. So... What were we talking about? Dynamite. So, that's right. That's what the show is. It's Day After Dynamite. Lots of cool stuff happened on the show. This is a very interesting show. This was Road Rager. I should have changed the graphics up. I should have had the backdrop of this have like the 80s theme. Although, you know, what's funny is Mikey Ruckus made an 80s themed kind of new wave version of the Dynamite theme 2 years ago for Bash at the Beach when they did this theme. And now, of course, they can't use the word Bash at the Beach because they traded that trademark back to WWE for Cody to get his full name back, only for Cody to then go to WWE. And now they have all of it.
Cody said, gotcha.
But so... But yeah, there's a song that would have fit with this because they pretty much repurposed all the Bash at the Beach stuff for Road Rager. They did it last year when Road Rager was in Miami, which that was supposed to be the original theme of it. It was Miami Vice. You have these graphics. This time they were just like, we need to give St. Louis a theme, so let's reuse those Miami Vice style graphics for St. Louis. Famous for their 80s nostalgia, I guess. But
Something.
this show opened up with Chris Jericho going one-on-one with Ortiz in a hair versus hair match. It was noted Chris Jericho is 2-0 in hair versus hair matches. I didn't see you singing Judas on camera this time. What was up? This didn't seem like the norm.
Throughout the show, he came out 3 times. I had to hear that song, not counting like at the ends when he would walk out.
Oh, so they played his song when he came out for Rampage?
Yes. He came out to the ring and yelled at all of us and told us all that we sucked and then went back. But yeah, 3 times I had to hear that song, and my children were singing it. I did not sing it. But yeah, he's not winning hair versus hair when it comes to like genetics, because those hair plugs look terrible. If I was him, I would have been like, please let me lose this match.
Everybody thought that's why he was going to be losing the match. They thought, okay, well, like, Jericho's hair seems to be kind of hanging on by strands. I'll say that it holds up better in matches than like Edge's did, where that was just sadness. But I think everybody thought, okay, Ortiz is going to win this match because like Jericho's hair looks like it
terrible.
Probably needs to get cut. And no, didn't happen. Chris Jericho was a pretty fun match with Ortiz. Crowd was really into it, and crowd was really into Ortiz in general, wanting to see Ortiz get the victory. I think having Eddie Kingston at ringside, hyping everybody up, was definitely a big help. But Chris Jericho beat him, and he beat him with a major surprise here. So Eddie Kingston runs in. He actually he hits the spinning back fist on Jericho, and we get a very close near fall. Everybody thought that this was it.
It was so close. Oh my god.
Yes. But then in runs Fuego del Sol, who attacks Ortiz, allowing Chris Jericho to get the victory. 1, 2, 3. Ortiz loses his hair. But it was not Fuego del Sol. He unmasks to reveal that it's actually Sammy Guevara, the newest member of the Jericho Appreciation Society. This is just the inner circle now without Santana and Ortiz.
They just replaced those two with the square head guy and the other one and Daniel Garcia. Yeah.
Which, I mean, I like. I think Matt Menard is having like the best run of his career. But in general, this is just the inner circle with 2 members kicked out.
Yeah. That we have to call the Jericho Appreciation Society.
I know, right? And like Jericho kind of like mocked it at the media scrum back at Double or Nothing, where he was like, "Oh, everybody wanted the name Inner Circle 2.0 because we had 2.0, and that wasn't gonna work." And it's like, actually, that's still a better name than because this isn't any different. This isn't like the goal's not any different. You now have an original Inner Circle member in here. I don't know. It's not really different enough for me to feel like anything needed to change as far as that's concerned. I like I said, I like Matt Menard's whole introduction. I actually still like it, and I'm actually missing the weeks, the week counter that they had each week, where they were like for 7 weeks, for 12 weeks, and now it's just the 5-star deal. But either way, Jericho wins, and Ortiz, man of his word, shaves his head, kind of bloodies himself, but shaves his head in the middle of the ring and starts shouting blood and guts, blood and guts, blood and guts. What did you think?
Was shocked at the outcome of it. I mean, I really, really thought Jericho was going to lose that. And I took the barber that they had, which at this point, why did they have it? Because he cut his own hair. But they had the barber guy ringside, and they kept fighting right next to him. And he was so terrified. He was like 10 feet in front of me. I could not stop laughing at him because his face was like, please don't hit me the whole time. But it was a really good match. And I'm glad that they opened with that because the crowd was still hyped from the matches that they recorded for
Elevation
or whatever, because we'd had Warhorse out and Willow, and I'm trying to think, there was a couple other people I can't remember, but so the crowd was super excited anyway because local people, and then starting with that, everybody was still pretty hyped up, but I was shocked at the outcome. And when the guy got in the ring after they went to commercial with a leaf blower to blow Ortiz's hair out of the ring, I could not stop laughing.
Yeah, he's usually there to like clean up everything. How was the show without Justin Roberts? Because I was just thinking about that. Justin Roberts, his kind of favorite thing is to play games with the crowd during breaks and stuff like that. I've never seen how Dasha interacts with people for that.
So Dasha was right in front of me. Their table was right in front of where we were.
Oh yeah, I saw you guys got a picture. Dasha's gorgeous, by the way. She's
a sweetheart. So me and her were talking throughout it because like it was super hot in there, and she was like, "I'm dying," like the whole time. And after one of the matches on Elevation, QT Marshall, he smacked their table and spilled all of their drinks everywhere. So they were all trying to clean it all up because, they've got speakers and everything sitting on that table. But she took a lot of pictures with people. So she wasn't like as much like him, but she walked around and was like pointing out signs and everything during the commercials. And of course, everybody and their brother was asking her for pictures because she's gorgeous. So she took a lot of pictures with people, but I think Reed had a crush on her, which we know Reed's a little ladies'
no surprise.
man. And he kept, every time I would look over at him, he would be like waving at her and she would wave back at him. But yeah, she did a good job too. She was confused during the Wardlow match though.
Yeah, she was, because she made a call about eliminations that hadn't happened yet.
Yeah, she said 1, 2, and 3, and then she was like counting, trying to see how many were on the ground, and a guy like came up to her and was like, "No, they have to be pinned."
Yeah.
Speaking
of which, that was our next match. By the way, I give the first match solid B. I thought just from how much fun I had with the match, the crowd was into it. I thought Ortiz actually looked like a badass shaving his own head and screaming blood and guts. I was pretty happy with this. Solid B. Then we had the Wardlow versus Security. 20-on-1 elimination match. To quote Sean Ross Sapp, dear friend of ours, that is not how pins work. Because he was stacking people on top of each other, but
like the ones on top, their shoulders are not.
They're not pinned. No, like this already loses a letter grade just for that. Also, I got what they were going for, but one of the pieces of damage I felt like this did was Wardlow was clearly getting tired after maybe like the 7th powerbomb. And I think this was supposed to make him look unstoppable, but the fact that he was starting to struggle with him after him pinned it actually made him look a little stoppable. Wardlow, by the way, had new music. I know we had originally had the scoop that Wardlow was going to debut new music. I think it was 2 weeks ago. And then I had, I guess, kind of reported, since it wasn't out there, that the music was pulled very last minute. Like they had run through the entrance and decided that this wasn't the right music for him. And so they went back to the old music But the Tron still stayed. And then this week, they finally had a brand new theme for him. It's actually by the guys who did the music for Malachi Black and the House of Black. This was not a Mikey Ruckus theme. And also definitely not even remotely the flavor of the theme that they were going with 2 weeks ago. Because that flavor was... for anybody who hadn't, of course, nobody's heard that, but it was originally going to be a little bit more of a, I don't know, I guess symphony is a better way to put it. Yeah, who knows? Maybe it'll see the light of day one day, but we do know that the theme that they have, or that he has now, is just another newer metal theme. But crowd was into Wardlow. Give him that. But otherwise... this segment kind of felt like a bit of a dud. I didn't feel like a lot of it worked. I think Dasha announcing the eliminations early on showed that there wasn't exactly a lot of communication as to how this was going to work. The pinfalls didn't make any sense. And that was it. Wardlow won after 4 minutes.
It felt like it was longer than 4 minutes sitting there. Mm-hmm. But, like, the crowd was into it just because he's flinging guys everywhere.
Right.
So everybody thought that it was fun or whatever. But I agree he was getting tired. And I'm sure that it was like 200 degrees in that ring because it was so humid in there anyway. And then the lights on them. So I'm sure that didn't help with it because... I mean, literally, I had sweat coming down me the whole time because we've been under a heat advisory here. We've been under a heat advisory for 4 days.
What's the temp right now?
Let me.
Because I can hear your fans going.
Yes. I have 4 air conditioners on in my house right now because I have my central air unit. I have a portable one downstairs and 2 window units up here, and like they have not kicked off in days. Let me see.
What does your energy bill look like?
Oh, it's a lot. It is...
especially because it's summer and you've got kids at home too. And
yeah,
I don't know.
It says it's 96 degrees, but because of the humidity, it feels like 109. Yeah.
I mean, it's not a whole lot better here. It's currently, let's see, at last check... 88. It's going to get up to 93 today. But at least because we don't have to deal with humidity, 88, hold on, I'll show you. It says 88 and feels like 88.
Yeah. The dry heat is easier to deal with than the humid heat. That's why I was sweating so much. It was so, I mean, okay, so I didn't get home till 2 a.m. and the temperature at 2 a.m. was 88 degrees. Like we've just been under this heat advisory and it's awful, and it was so hot in that building, and I'm sure that the ACs just can't keep up. It's a college arena, right. So and it's not even a big college. so I mean, but it was hot in there. I'm sure that didn't help either. He's a big boy, but
that arena looks nice on TV though. I'll give him that. Yeah, that it is. Yeah. It's a great looking arena. And I like, I'm big on arenas having their own identity. So I do like college arenas a little bit more than I like NBA arenas, only because NBA arenas all look the same. Somewhere around like 2001, companies just all kind of decided as they were building these NBA arenas, let's just kind of go with one standard look. This is how they're all going to look, and this is what we do. And I feel like every NBA arena looks exactly the same. And so when wrestling companies run them, you're kind of getting the same look week to week. Whereas I do feel like college arenas all have kind of their own identity to them. Yeah. And like when I watch shows, I can identify just looking at the crowd. I'm like, oh, okay, this is this place or whatever. They're a whole lot easier to identify.
And it was a lot easier to navigate as well than like where we went for Rumble, because it's still downtown, but it's like on the other side, and there's parking garages right next to it that you can just walk over. So it was a lot easier. I prepaid for my parking, got right in there, right out. It was pretty easy. So I preferred it as well.
Nice. This still gets a D from me. The post match that saw appearances by UFC champions Matt Hughes and Tyron Woodley, and they were ordered by Dan Lambert to attack Wardlow, but then Wardlow convinces them that, why do you want to listen to some rich asshole when, you guys are hard workers like me? And then they throw Mark Sterling to the wolves. He gets powerbombed. Yay.
Yeah. And they got the pop because hometown guys and everything. And I actually had seen them before the show started. They were sitting like to the right of me, and then they moved them over there so they would be able to get in easier. And I forgot to tell Sean that I'd seen them, but I'm not a big Matt Hughes fan. He's something. An accused abuser, we'll say.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, but I was a little concerned because he was having trouble trying to get up there. I mean, the dude got hit by a train a couple of years ago. So he was having like trouble getting through and everything. So I was like, oh my God, I hope he doesn't fall down trying to do this, because this will not go over well. But it went over fine. So, I mean, honestly, I didn't pay a ton of attention to this segment because it was not super thrilling.
Yeah, and that's why, like I said, this one didn't exactly win with me. So I guess win some, lose some, and in this case, lose some. Wasn't for me. Wardlow still remains over, though, and he is well on his way to getting that TNT championship. He's definitely the guy for it at this point. So LFG, I guess. But speaking of LFG, come on. I was waiting for this. This was the match I was waiting for.
Me too.
Pretty much since Tony announced it Tuesday. Dax Harwood, Will Ospreay. The IWGP United States Champion Will Ospreay, who did not bring his IWGP United States Championship, actually brought his Web Pro Championship. But that said, these two went one-on-one. And the thing that I think people were most excited for is that these are two completely clashing wrestling styles.
Yes.
And the thing I was hoping for, knowing who Will Ospreay is, knowing who Dax Harwood is, my brain saw this as Kurt Angle and Rey Mysterio. That was my immediate thought was like that kind of clash of styles where not remotely the same, but it's going to work. And it absolutely did. I thought these guys went out there and had themselves a pro wrestling match. This is the type of pro wrestling I live for. And Dax Harwood reminds us that he is still one of the best in the world. Will Ospreay, though, also reminds us that he is definitely one of the best in the world. And they're best at different things. And it all kind of came together in this match. I thought everything from the suplex exchanges, everything looked brutal in all the right ways. This was also kind of a nice way to get a taste of Will Ospreay working more traditional TV style wrestling, because he has never really had to, right? Yeah. And for the most part, like, people were kind of pointing out that certain things he does aren't really all that conducive to TV style wrestling. And you know, Kenny Omega's the same way, right? Like, that's a big problem. That's a big thing people have a problem with Kenny Omega, is that he works a style that's not designed for television, that really what it's designed for. And when I say that, just keep in mind, folks, what I actually mean by that is that, New Japan Pro Wrestling is a style I prefer in its filming, in that they are simply letting the action play out in the ring, and their cameras are designed to find it. Whereas WWE style wrestling is designed to, you are wrestling for the cameras, and your job as a performer is to find the cameras. Yeah. And so those are just two different styles. And AEW is somewhere in between where a lot of guys really don't work for the cameras. We are just working and the cameras are there to find us. But at the same time, there's a very fixed hard camera. There's very fixed commercial break style spots. You can see where they are very much working for television. Will Ospreay, in a lot of ways, doesn't really work that way. But Dax Harwood's, he was in the system. He is very much trained to do such. And so you can kind of see it all come together. And I thought they led each other well. I think the right guy won. Will Ospreay kind of needed the win here.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the hell out of this, though. This was pro wrestling to me. This solid A from me. This isn't going to get the S. Nothing on the show got the S. But this was a solid A. I had so much fun with this as a match. And I think this was a good introduction for fans to Will Ospreay as a singles performer.
Yes, I agree. I missed the beginning of the match because my kids had to pee. So we had to go to the bathroom, and to get to the bathroom on the floor, you had to go all the way around. So it took a little bit to get over there, but we didn't miss very much. And then came back in, and the kids even had a ton of fun with it, and they aren't super familiar with Will Ospreay, but the guys that were sitting next to me had no idea who he was. And I'm trying to explain it to them, and they just didn't really care. And I'm like, why did you buy front row seats to the show? Because they didn't know any of the New Japan guys at all. And I'm like, okay. So I was trying to explain it to them and everything, and they're like, that coat's ugly. And I'm like, oh gosh.
But either way, I think even as an introduction, if you didn't know who he was, I feel like you came out of this match, or you should have come out of this match with a full understanding of it, and hopefully wanting to see more. Like I said, I enjoyed the hell out of this. This was great. But I will tell you this. I know the internet feels a certain way. I'm going to put an image up, and I'm going to tell you that, as I mentioned, I will be in Chicago next week for Forbidden Door. And I say this fully unironically. This is absolutely what I'm looking forward to most.
Okay.
100%.
When he came out, everybody went insane. I think everybody is.
Well, I'm seeing a lot on Twitter who are just upset over the fact that you're like, wait, you have Will Ospreay and you're putting him against Orange Cassidy? Yes, you're putting him against Orange motherfucking Cassidy. This match is going to be great. This is going to be a goddamn hoot. I don't care about, you don't take Orange Cassidy seriously. Oh, he's a joke wrestler, blah, 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 blah. Orange Cassidy versus Will Ospreay sounds like it's going to be incredibly fun.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And I forgot that because Orange Cassidy, he's been out of action since Revolution when he got the shoulder injury in the Face of the Revolution ladder match. So that music, when it hit, people, there was a big pop for it. Yeah, lost it for Orange Cassidy. And we're getting Orange Cassidy versus Will Ospreay. Dead serious. When I saw this graphic, look, I have a front row seat to Forbidden Door.
Oh my god!
I am so excited for this. I can't even stress. This is for the IWGP United States Championship. Orange Cassidy versus Will Ospreay.
I really wanted to.
I can't believe this is a real fucking thing.
I know. I really wanted to go to it, and that match made me want to go to it even more. But we're in Little League right now. I can't. I can't be going anywhere. So yeah.
So I know St. Louis. This arena was like an hour drive from you, right?
About an hour and a half.
Hour and a half. How far is Chicago from you?
4.5.
Yeah. I say that, and I just drove 8 hours to Kansas City, so
yeah,
whatever.
I never drive it though. I drive about an hour into Indiana and take a 30-minute flight into Chicago. So I know.
Okay.
I won't drive in Chicago, so there's no point in me having my car there. I lived in Southern California and drove there, but I won't drive in Chicago. Whatever. But you forgot the most important part of the aftermath of that match.
Oh, that's right. You got to see Cash Wheeler. For those unaware, see, the problem is you have so many, like, of those guys that are...
That's fair. It's mostly just Cash and Big E, though.
Okay.
But, I mean...
Either way, Cher's guys are Big E and Cash.
I try not to make the inappropriate comments about the ones that are married. Because that's just too much. So, they're not. So...
So you got to see Cash Wheeler, though.
I did. And I have not got to see, which he didn't wrestle, but I have not got to see him wrestle since Full Gear. So, yeah, because they did not wrestle at Revolution.
That's right.
Yeah.
Did they wrestle at Full Gear? Who did they wrestle at Full Gear?
They did, but I can't remember who it was.
What the hell? How am I forgetting?
I feel like it was a 3-way, maybe.
Hold on.
I can't remember anything.
Oh, that's right. It was the Lucha Bros versus. That's right. They had the tag title match.
Yeah.
There it was. Yeah.
So, yeah, that was the last time I got to see him wrestle. So he came out, and I was super excited, and then he did not come out again.
But you got to see him later on.
Yeah.
Because you got a picture.
I did. Because he messaged me and was like, sorry, I went on the wrong side.
Good for you. I'm glad you got it. Like I said, as I tweeted, that was my PJ from a Goofy Movie moment. And I'm like, she did it!
I was laughing so hard when I read that, though. Like, that was the best reference ever. But yeah, he introduced the boys to some of the wrestlers and everything. I stopped by their hotel. He had me stop by there, and then I got stuck in the parking garage because I couldn't get the code to work, and I had to call somebody to get me out. I was like, okay, I'm about to just buy a room and stay at this hotel. It's midnight.
Damn.
Oh, a good time. It was a good time.
Good time. Either way, I had so much fun with this segment. From top to bottom. Great segment.
A blast.
Huge blast. Then we had the what was it next? Oh, Tanahashi and Jon Moxley segment. Jon Moxley makes his way down, and he gets to confront Hiroshi Tanahashi. And finally, this match is going to be happening. Moxley talked about all the history behind it. And he talked about the fact that his whole journey in New Japan, he talked about all the opponents he's had. It's all been leading to this, to facing the man who he's wanted to call the Ace. Who everybody calls the Ace because at this point he wants to call himself the Ace. And in order for that to happen, Moxley has to take on Tanahashi. Tanahashi got to say one thing in this entire segment, and he kept kind of reaching for the mic, and then Moxley was like, no, I'm not done here, and kept going. And then when Tanahashi finally got the mic, then Jericho's music hits, and I thought, I was actually going through this whole show, and I thought, up to this point, I thought, hey, there's been no Jericho talking segment. We're probably not going to get one. Nah, that's not the case. Nope, can't have that. Nope, Jericho talking segment. And Jericho, he's got Sammy Guevara and Ty Conti with him. He announces that Jericho he announces Sammy Guevara and Ty Conti are the newest members of the Jericho Appreciation Society. And then Tanahashi goes, Jericho, shut up.
Yeah.
That was it.
Jericho!
That was it.
Yeah. I don't know. That was, and then him talking about how they would have sex right there and then. I'm like, can we not? And they just
I thought
over the top.
I thought the worst part of this was how much shit they they had Jericho go out there and squeeze into this segment where Jericho gets on the mic and is just like, new members of the Jericho Appreciation Society. Also, we're teaming with Lance Archer for right now, but don't worry about that. Also, El Desperado's here. This is my match coming up for Forbidden Door. There was just so much that happened in this segment. This segment went way downhill. I thought Moxley was incredible there, and then I thought Jericho was just all over the place and trying to shoehorn in way too much.
Yeah, I agree. And I always feel like Jericho over talks anyway. Mm-hmm. So it really felt like he did there, and he was losing the crowd. So yeah. I'm like, but I was glad when it was over. If it would have just been Mox and Tanahashi, like even if they would have just ended it with the face-off, that
would have been great.
Yeah, they could have had Jericho backstage say something later, and I just didn't feel like he needed to come out, but yes. It is what it is.
And so we also then saw, Darby Allin called out Bobby Fish, which is fitting because, Kyle O'Reilly took out Darby's much older partner. So then therefore it would make sense that Darby wants to take out Kyle O'Reilly's much older partner. And so,
poor Bob.
Thank you. I'm glad that finally got you. That was that. Tony Storm had a promo with some cut-in footage from Britt Baker. I thought the footage was weird. And I was going to say, is everything okay over there?
I didn't hear the security system, but I thought I heard the door open. So
the All-Atlantic title qualifying match between Miro and Ethan Page. Miro was very over.
Very.
Ethan Page came out to a solo theme, by the way, which I noted on Twitter that we really haven't heard in full since he debuted. That was the theme that played when he debuted at Revolution 2021. And then he had a match the following Wednesday with Lee Johnson, but the music, you couldn't hear anything because that was where they had that like weird audio problem where they had cut in the audio from an NBA game. So we technically really haven't heard this theme like in full on Dynamite. But Ethan Page took on Miro. Decent stuff here. Miro wins.
I mean, I think everybody knew Miro was going to win, but yes. It was all right. I mean,
it's going to lead to Miro versus Pac, by the way. A match that Miro has infamously brought up as, if you ever watch Miro's Twitch streams, he talked about how Pac, the last time he had a match with Pac, Miro and Pac, was back in 2015. And it was in a match on, I think it was Main Event, might have been Superstars, but it resulted in Miro tearing his bicep. And he was injured and out for a number of months because of that match with Pac. And when asked about it, in a very kind of tongue-in-cheek fashion, he was like, I'm not wrestling Pac. He tore my bicep. And here we are revisiting Pac and Miro one-on-one.
It'll be good. A lot of fun.
Should be. I don't know who you put over there, because on one end, I want to see Pac kind of win the whole title. I feel like this title is like almost perfect for him. Whereas Miro, on the other hand, though, kind of still has some momentum and should probably still be riding it. So we'll see where this goes, but they will all be... Oh, they're saying in the chat it's a 4-way. Okay. So it's not just going into a one-on-one match. Okay. Either way,
It'll be good.
Should be good. Then I was just reading the bracket incorrectly. Whatever. That's on me.
I see all the it's a 4-way comments now.
Yes. Thank you, chatters. Or as Miro's Twitch would say, thank you to all the handsome chatters. I watch people's Twitches, by the way, especially if they're friends. Miro's not a friend, but my wrestling friends who do have them, I make sure to support and subscribe.
Miro is very nice. The boys waved at him last night, and he waved at them. This was at the hotel. And then he made it a point after he got his whatever he was getting to come over and say hi to both of them, and he gave them both nucks. And I was like, that was because I was like keeping them away from everybody,
right?
Because there were fans that were like bombarding all of them at the bar. You know how it is. So we were kind of just like sitting. We were sitting on a couch like over to the side waiting for Cash. So yeah.
So I had the same deal, right? Where so I was actually staying at the hotel on where everybody was staying. And so I get back to the hotel after Dynamite last week, and I was just going to wait in the lobby for Swerve to come down. And I kind of start sitting there. I see Will Hobbs came over. He said, "What's up?" And we talked. And I mentioned all this past week. I talked about all the wrestlers who were really kind to Billy and came over, talked to him, took pictures with him, all of that. Darby was really great to him. But the one thing I was trying to avoid was that giant section of fans who were just there to get their stuff signed. And I'm like, don't stand with them. I am not a part of any of that. I'm not interested in any of that. And they have
at the Rumble.
Yeah, that's how it was at the hotel. There's people just camped out in the lobby. They've got bags. They've got their backpacks with their action figures. They've got bags full of them. And as soon as they see a wrestler walk by, they pull it out. They know the action figure to grab, and they're like, "Hey, Ortiz, can you sign this?" And
yeah, I felt the same way. I was like keeping them over to the side because the hotel that they stayed at, I almost said the name of it. I'm not saying the name of the hotel because that's where they stay every time. The hotel that they stayed at has like a lot of different couches throughout on their whole main floor. So I had them sitting, and of course they're like looking at all the wrestlers and everything, but I'm like, no, you guys have to stay over here. And so we stayed over there until Cash took us over. And actually, like, Trent was the one who was like, take a picture with him to Cole about Reed, because I wasn't going to ask for him to take pictures. So yeah, and then Cash choke slammed Reed onto a couch.
And
that Trent goes, do you even know this kid? Like, Trent was so bothered by it. But Will Hobbs came over too. He came over and had both of them flexing for them. And he was telling everybody how strong Reed was. So he was super great with him too. But yeah, I did not want to be like associated with that crew. So I'm like, we're over here.
Yeah, like I said, I did the exact same thing. I didn't want to be. Because the other thing that was going on was, I don't know how this happened, but AEW like accidentally, I guess, booked a hotel at the same place where like T-Mobile was holding a giant conference for like all of the store managers from like nationwide. So it took me a minute because there were just hundreds of like people in magenta shirts walking around, and I'm like, what is going on here? And just all walking around the hotel. It's like a mix of wrestlers. Yeah, it's like wrestlers and people in magenta. And I made the mistake of mentioning to one of them that I had Verizon, and they looked at me and they're like, well, let me tell you how they're like, did you know that Verizon started the development of their 5G network later? So we actually have more 5G. And I'm like, did you know that I just drove across fucking middle of nowhere where I would have had no signal at all had I not had Verizon? So
yeah. T-Mobile does not work where I live at all. So
yeah,
sorry, T-Mobile people.
Yeah, look, I appreciate T-Mobile. I appreciate their 5G, all of that. But also, part of the reason that I ended up switching to Verizon was because of the nowhere coverage. But so it was great. And yeah, the T-Mobile people couldn't figure out. They're like, some of these people, they
big ass people.
Yeah, I think one of them had actually said to a wrestler, they're like, you look like you could be a wrestler. And they're like, oh, you don't say. But again, it was just all people in magenta shirts. Because I asked somebody, I was like, okay, why are there so many T-Mobile people at this hotel? And they're like, so this is where we're having our diversity and inclusion conference with all of the managers from every single T-Mobile store throughout the country. And so I'm like, okay, that makes sense, because if there's like hundreds of those stores, then there would be literally hundreds of people walking around here. Thank you, T-Mobile people. But anyway, it was a C as far as Miro and Ego was concerned. And then we had our singular women's match, as we tend to have on AEW Dynamite. Britt Baker took on Toni Storm one-on-one, a rematch from their match 3 weeks ago in Las Vegas, which I was at. And I thought this was better. I thought this was better than the last one. I also enjoyed Britt's sell of in which I actually, for a moment, thought she was legit knocked out. I thought, oh, shit.
Yeah.
As soon as they were playing it up, and she got me. She sold me. I believed every second of that. I think all of you did in the arena, too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was really good, and I was glad that Toni went over on that, too. Like, yeah, Britt was selling everything. Like, when she went to walk out, she put all of her body weight on the ref. He was like dragging her. Like she was just selling everything. But yeah, I thought it was fun. I wish we had more women's matches. But yeah, it was a fun match. I would say the crowd wasn't as into it as some of the other matches, but that tends to happen with women's matches too. So yeah.
It does. No, this gets a solid B for me. I thought that this was kind of the showing that I don't think it was as good as the match with Jamie Hayter, but I'm starting to realize that there aren't a lot of people on that roster as good as Jamie Hayter. But I will say this was one of Toni's best matches in AEW so far. Yeah. And she won Storm Zero for the victory. And then Thunder Rosa, who had chased Jamie Hayter off earlier in the match, then points to Toni Storm. They are going one-on-one at Forbidden Door for the people who are concerned, because New Japan doesn't have a women's division, because that's not how New Japan works. And I need people to understand that that's not how it works, because they are perfectly okay with it not working that way, for people American fans who want to chastise them for the fact that there are just full-on women's wrestling companies. And Stardom is actually a sister company to New Japan, so therefore it all works. And they're happy with that. So that's not a fight to take up. And so, yeah, we then instead got... so we are still getting a women's match, though, at Forbidden Door. I didn't think they were going to do one, just because of the concept of New Japan versus AEW wouldn't have exactly fit. But we got one. Here we go. Yeah. And yeah, as they noted in the chat, Toni is ex-Stardom, so that works. So in a way, you are kind of getting AEW versus you're getting AEW versus Stardom in a way. It kind of works. Stokely was fucking hilarious. I am loving these segments, these backstage segments that Stokely has been doing for Jade Cargill. Have been so great, so funny. When Willow walked in and he was like, "Stop! I know what you want. You want to join the baddies." And speaking of which, I do have a quick question, and I think I know the answer. I guess slight Rampage spoiler. Was Red Velvet there?
No.
Okay. Anyway, so then finally in the main event, Jurassic Express, or as I've been corrected since they haven't been calling them Jurassic Express as of late, except Dasha called them Jurassic Express last night, and they say Jurassic Express on commentary frequently, but it's specifically Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus defending their All Elite Wrestling World Tag Team titles against the former champs, the Young Bucks, in a ladder match. You can say whatever you want about the Young Bucks, but here's the thing, and I'm sure you will, but here's the thing. Pro wrestling has really one job. Just one. You could say all the other stuff about it's supposed to tell a story, it's supposed to blah, 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 blah. Has one job. And that is get over with fans. And nobody does it better than Matt and Nick Jackson.
Oh, yeah.
Their shit gets crowds into it. They get crowds going. Fans love what they do. Even when they hate what they do, they love what they do. This was a hoot.
Yeah, I won't say that they don't entertain me. I mean, I'm probably not as hard on them as I used to be, but I like them better as the heels, which is funny, but I think that they're a lot more entertaining as heels. But the match was a blast. Seeing everybody go through all the tables and everything was a lot of fun. I knew that they were going to win. We joked about this the other day, but I knew they were going to win because, well, non-Jurassic Express, they were just done as champions for me.
Well, I think more than anything, I think the Young Bucks have all the ties to New Japan. There would have been nothing Jurassic Express that would have really made a whole lot of sense for them to have those titles going into Forbidden Door. The Young Bucks need the belts going into Forbidden Door. And also, if FTR is to win the belts, and it's looking like they're going to, it would make way more sense for them to beat the Young Bucks on pay-per-view. Because now the score's tied, right? It's 1-1. So then the final match should be on pay-per-view. Yeah. And the thing is, I said this on Twitter. I liked Jurassic Express's title run. I thought that I know a lot of people were really down on it, who talked about how they were kind of the background players to bigger feuds. But I don't know. I like that as a story in a way. Like when we talk about the Team Taz versus Swerve and Our Glory feud that had been going on, and then Jurassic Express kind of got inserted into it. I like the idea because that's actually a tried and true triple threat trope. It's worked in WWE before. The idea, it worked in other companies, period. But the idea of two guys who hate each other so much that they neglect the third wheel, who ends up getting the best of both of them and winning. That's the story that they were telling both times they did the triple threats, where Red Dragon and the Young Bucks were so consumed with each other that Jurassic Express ended up getting the best. Yeah, they slip in and get the best of the both of them because those two can't get over their issues. And then same with Team Taz. The idea was that Team Taz had cheated to get over on Swerve and Keith Lee. And therefore, they thought they were good enough for the title. Swerve and Keith Lee were doing everything they could to prevent Team Taz from getting the titles. But in the process, it all ended up resulting in Jurassic Express walking away with the belts. Right. And then also the underlying story of Christian was the one putting them in all these scenarios. Christian was the one that put them in the ladder matches. Christian's the one that was kind of setting them up to lose. And
they lost.
Either way, talking about the match, solid A again for me. Yeah. Had a lot of fun with this match. I had a lot of fun with everything happening here, and all of the table spots were very creative, were very fun. Nick Jackson is just a hoot to watch. Yes. And in the end, it was a BTE trigger, and we have the first ever 2-time AEW
Yes.
Tag Team Champions. And, if I'm not mistaken, the first two-time champion in AEW period was Cody Rhodes, who was an EVP. and now the first two-time tag team champions are the Young Bucks. I'm sure somebody will make something out of that, but
I saw people last night being like, "Oh, the EVPs booked themselves to win the first two-time," and I'm like, "Okay, there's really not anyone else there except maybe FTR that should be a two-time already either." Like,
and this set up FTR to be. I feel like this sets them up better. Like right now, FTR is in line to challenge for the IWGP Tag Team titles. That we saw that Great O'Khan and Jeff Cobb showed up on the show with the IWGP Tag titles. It very much seems like FTR could probably walk away with those and be this highly decorated tag team that has
Ultimo Dragon. They're like,
yes.
But someone said in the chat that the Hardys were supposed to win. No, they weren't. It was always gonna be.
Yeah, there were discussions of putting the belts on the Hardys, but I think people have kind of run with that, thinking that meant that once this match was booked, this was the Hardys match to win. It wasn't. The Bucks were gonna walk. The Bucks were walking into Forbidden Door with the tag team titles.
Yes.
But yeah.
Ultimo FTR. Someone said Ultimo FTR.
Yeah. But this didn't end here, because after the match was over, Christian was checking on his boys. He checks on Luchasaurus, who had gone through that stack of 4 tables. One of the tables didn't break. Speaking of which, that table that Matt Jackson went through that like shattered, but like he barely touched it, but the shit still fucking exploded. That was like so video game worthy. That was like I don't know. It looked incredible. Yeah. And that said, the after that happened, then he goes to check on Jungle Boy, and as Jungle Boy's being helped out of the ring, Nope hits him with the kill switch, then goes and gets a chair and concertos him.
And then yells at his mom and sister.
Yeah. That part didn't air on TV. That aired for the fight crowd. But we TBS watchers.
Yeah, I think he told her that she raised a bitch, and then his sister flipped him off.
Yes.
Yeah. It was... Oh, God. It was fun. But,
I know, I'm reading this too. We know who reported this. Okay, sorry.
I mean, John Alba is the one who told me that, and considering he has a podcast with Matt, I would think that he would know, but I don't even know who the hell Kenny Williams is, but all right, Ken.
Yeah, no, okay. Okay. We all talk a lot more than you guys think. Like, when these reports and stuff come out, there's a reason that we're all kind of in the know as it all hits. Just FYI. And think about where that report came out yesterday and who it came from.
Okay, why are you even on
okay. Anyway, so regardless, the Christian turns heel. We finally got the payoff. Christian is your he's heel again. I'm excited to see this play out. I am so excited to see this play out. I'm excited to see Christian as a heel. This has been really brewing since Double or Nothing 2021, where the final two in the Casino Battle Royale were Christian and Jungle Boy. And it's felt like since that moment, Christian was plotting to cross Jungle Boy. And this was our moment. We finally got to see it.
Yeah, it was very exciting. I mean, everybody had been waiting for it. So for it to finally happen, it was good timing with all of that. And yeah, I almost wasn't even like paying attention when it happened because just everything going on, and then it all just happened so quickly. But yeah, when he got the chairs, everybody was like, "Concerto!" like losing their mind. So yeah,
I know. I'm glad the TBS feed ended before the "one more time" chant. By the way,
yeah.
Your pictures, by the way, had a lot of people worried.
Yeah. And I said on there, like, I don't work here. I don't know if this is real. They had his mom and sister come around the barricade and go out with him. He was bleeding a lot. Mm-hmm. Security Sam got a towel from the table in front of us for the blood because he was bleeding a bunch. But I said, like, I don't know. And Tony was out there, like, slamming his head off the side of the ring. Like, you know how Tony is. So I'm like, we'll see. But I did not see him, but I did see his mom and sister at the hotel later. So, sitting with Christian. So, they were literally drinking.
You're not supposed to say that stuff.
Yeah.
You know the amount of wrestlers I've seen at Wale Mania, by the way, the amount of wrestlers that are actively feuding that I was like, hey, you're not supposed to be together.
Yeah. Always there. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it was fun. It was a good way to close out the show too.
Mm-hmm. I agree. And that was the turn everybody wanted to see. And yeah, as noted, Jungle Boy got an early birthday present because today's his birthday. Happy birthday, Jungle Boy.
Yeah.
Speaking of presents, so I haven't looked at Twitter, but I had already looked at the ratings, and I know that I know how this is going to go. But this depends on how you look at it. Not a great night for AEW. This show did 761,000 and a 0.28. This is the lowest rating that Dynamite has done in over a year since April 7th, 2021. Now, of course, it was up against the Stanley Cup Finals on network television.
Yes.
We know that slaughtered it because the show still came in number 2 on cable television. It was only beaten by Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. And I don't think no show did over a 0.28 on cable. So relatively, this is still fine. But you know what Twitter's going to run with on that front. Yeah. So regardless, not a great rating. I mean, it's not a great rating. It's not a great number. Anybody who I guess is praying for the AEW's downfall is definitely going to run with this as their as a sign of bad things, regardless of not looking at cable TV relatively for the night. There were no NBA Finals last night. Believe that's tonight. Tonight should be.
Yeah, it's tonight.
Yeah, it's tonight. And I believe, hopefully, this is it for the NBA Finals. Golden State, just put these motherfuckers home and just put them away. Leave them at home. Get your championship ring. Let's do this.
Yeah.
For people unaware, because Golden State eliminated the Nuggets, I am rooting for Golden State because I hate for our losses to be in vain. So therefore, the Nuggets are going to go out. You need to go out to the eventual winners. Golden State, get it done. Let's do it. Doing it for Reg. So
yeah,
just get it done tonight.
I agree. And I think that them going against the hockey really.
Oh yeah, yeah, and I think we'll have to see next week how it does. Next week live from Milwaukee, and then so there's that. Is it in Milwaukee next week? Yes, it is.
I don't know. I need Tony to officially announce where All Out is.
We know where All Out is.
I know, but I need the official. I won't book until I have the official.
I mean, here's what I will tell you. I know multiple wrestlers in All Elite Wrestling. The thing is, as you know, every wrestler period has their travel itinerary, and they all have All Out in Hoffman Estates.
Damn Hoffman Estates, where I had to freaking walk back to the hotel.
And they already have their hotel bookings. They all have all of it. It would be way too late to change a lot of that stuff. So,
well, I mean, I don't know. They did it with Full Gear.
True. I don't think they have wrestlers that had their travel itineraries yet, though, for that.
I'm impressed that they booked that far out because WWE, they don't get that stuff in their TR app until like 4 weeks before.
Mm-hmm.
They just got where their SummerSlam hotel is. So.
Well, yeah, All Out. I will say this. I have concerns about All Out in Chicago just because of Forbidden Door coming up very soon. Yeah. That said, I will say that if Punk can be good to go by then, I think Punk versus Moxley in Chicago is the biggest match you could put on today. That AEW has in the bank. There isn't a bigger match than that, Punk versus Moxley. And so I think you could absolutely sell some tickets on that. Especially because it could go either way. Because I know the go-to is Punk because he needs to have an actual reign, but Moxley is having the run of his career right now.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't necessarily put a stop to that. That's personally me, but also Moxley's my favorite wrestler right now. Cher, thank you for doing this on really short notice. I have next week and the week after's guest actually already booked, but for whatever reason, it's funny, and I told you this. I had you mentally booked for this, in that I was like, oh, Cher's going to Dynamite, and so yeah, it would make sense that she's going to be on day after Dynamite. I mentally booked you for this like a month ago, but then I was like, I never actually asked her, and then I asked her like an hour before the show.
But I've never done anything, so here I am. I did have a
here you are.
This morning, though, so I'm glad that was this morning and not this afternoon.
Looks great too. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being a part of Day After Dynamite. Hope you enjoyed this wonderful episode with my dear friend Cher Delaware. I'm Will Washington. We will see you next time. Don't forget to hit like, hit subscribe. Keep checking out what we do here on Fightful Overbooked. And then also check us out over at youtube.com/Fightful. And I'm on Grapsity this Saturday, noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. We also have another special episode of Grapsity coming out next Tuesday. So check that out. There's going to be a Grapsity special. So even though I'm not on Grapsity next Saturday, there's going to be a special episode coming out on Tuesday. And what else? And I'll give you a hint about that specific episode. Some have already figured it out because I've already talked about it on Grapsity, if you've been paying enough attention. But if you've just been watching this show, it's related to something I asked Cher about like 20 minutes ago. That's all I'll say. Otherwise, ladies and gentlemen, we will see you next time.
Anything you asked me.
Have a great day. Peace.